WE here. But as you can see, we're already into Champion Select, so Atlas, Zyrene, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dracos. And already we do have a couple of bans coming in for both sides as well as we speedrun our way into this Champion Select. Corki and Lucian taken away by LYN Gaming. None of these mid lane 80 carries are going to come down from WE. And the Alistar once again hits the ban list as the Kalista is taken away as well. Seems to be a resident of the bans.
Yeah, and we're seeing LYN Gaming make some adaptations here where they ban out the blind pick Kog'Maw that Team WE were going for because they are very confident in picking that very early on and protecting it because Mystic is just so damn good on that champion and the team is so good around playing around it, they don't want to first pick it themselves on LYN.
Yeah, and looking at what the first pick is, the Xayah standing out like a sore thumb and he's going to be snapped up immediately. Almost got in there before the pick came in, but now it doesn't look like I'm a prophet. Just looks like I'm reading what's happening in front of me, which I guess is basically my job. It's WE now looking for their couple of picks to lock away. And do we think Sejuani could be an option here? I feel like Gragas, another one that they probably want to get their hands on as quickly as possible. And 957 has his pick of the litter as far as top lane tanks are concerned. And the Maokai is going to reign supreme.
Yeah, and like you said about the Sejuani, right now, Gragas and Sejuani are the two most played champions by Condi, and now I feel like you want to pick up an 80 carry so you can leave your third pick for possibly mid lane and then banning two, or possibly going for early support. But the question is, are they going to give Xayah Rakan over to LYN Gaming and allow them to have that combination on the bottom side?
Well, I'm not sure that whether they're even too worried about the Xayah Rakan situation at all. Tristan is going to be taken away here by Mystic. Not necessarily something that stands out in my mind as the Mystic champion, but certainly top of the meta at the moment, so not something that we have any question marks about him playing. But when I think of Mystic, I think of things like Ezreal and Ashe, and they're most definitely not top of the meta at the moment. So moving over the side of LYN Gaming, Odi and Saya to lock in what they want to grab. And you're right, Rakan's certainly an option there. And do they take away the Gragas as well? I mean, we've seen drafts like this work out incredibly well to have that potential double disengage if they were to line that one up with a Janna. Zero, not necessarily known for that Janna play, and of course hasn't played a lot for WE. Regular season, he's absent almost completely, but if we look back to Rift Rivals, Zero was a pivotal player. Remember, WE took down SKT and got LPL the title in Rift Rivals with Zero on the roster. And this guy may not necessarily be one of those players that plays with them all the time this season, but certainly has been with the lineup for a very, very long time, and might be looking fabulous this game.
I would actually really like a Taric because we talked about Team WE having those great team fights, and Taric is one of the best supports in a team fight to both engage, disengage, keep people sustained, can buy Ardent Sensor and give AoE heals, and able to make everybody invulnerable, so I like it.
Yeah. Having an Ardent Sensor down there as well, who acts as sort of a pseudo frontline at the same time, a lot of engaged potential, and of course, frontline when he's invincible. But Saya did lock in the Galio. Could be going to Dural towards the top side, but I'd much prefer to see Dural on something a little bit more damage focused. His solo kill on the top side when he was playing that Jax was very, very impressive, and it was actually taking advantage of one of those tanks as well, so isn't too worried about that one. But now as we go into the ban phase, the LeBlanc is going to be taken away from Xie, certainly a legacy pick for him, and the Rek'Sai and the Camille removed by WE. No Jax being looked at, and of course Rek'Sai has been a big pick, especially if you look at a player like Contracts, who does like to play with a little bit more of that damage. But Odi certainly has a lot of other options under his belt as well. So something like his Elise has always been very strong. His Lee Sin looked brilliant in the last time these two teams faced.
And the last time these two teams faced, skirmish, team fight was the name of the game, looking at neutral objectives and then just fighting over it.
Yeah.
And that's how the game was so close, was because LYN were taking those fights, and Team WE may have recognized we can just play those fights again, just draft a little bit better for them.
Yeah, and now they've got the Galio as well. So as far as early game skirmishes, once that mid lane hits level 6, even better with the hero's entrance to come down as well. So I do really like what LYN have put together. Okay. Xie looking to try and grab the first Ezreal, or is it going to be Condi? Because jungle Ezreal has been tearing up League of Legends right now, Zyrene. I'm really excited that we are going to be seeing it, and it's still a flex pick because Xie has played that in mid in the past. We could have a mid lane Tristan. Anything could be happening.
It's Worlds, anything! We'll lose our minds right now.
Yeah!
Taric going top. Anyway, the Ezreal, I most likely think this is...
about that.
I know. Most likely, this Ezreal is going to the jungle, and then this is something that has a lot of flexible gank paths. Condi, you want to see him be aggressive. You want to see him affect these lanes early to get them advantages. Ezreal is your boy. Ezreal can do red buff into a level 2 single camp gank mid because he has the E, and you just gap close with auto attacks, red buff the entire time. Q will apply the red buff, and then even if that gank doesn't work out and you get a flash, you just got a laner at a high level an advantage, and you can go do that on top and bottom immediately after. You just need level 2 to really affect things.
One thing that's really, really cool, though, is the response here from LYN Gaming. So Oddi's picked up the Kazakhs, and now if the Ezreal is ever discovered in that jungle, you could imagine with all that isolation damage, the fact that Kazakhs can slow you down with that passive as well. Ezreal, not exactly the healthiest man in League of Legends, especially in these early levels. So you could imagine that Oddi could potentially take advantage. That being said, Condi knows his gank paths so incredibly well. We saw the second game for WE. I know it's on Gragas, a very different champion, but he was everywhere he needed to be throughout that game, and he certainly has to be again now as we look to the second matchup between these two teams. Finally, we are going to have the Talia locked in for Xie. And he's going to be going against the Orianna, something that we've seen over and over again, but it's just going to be a lot of wave clear. And it means Giral going to be stepping away from the damage top lane. It's just going to be a wet noodle fight between the two big tanks up top.
Yeah, as long as you can keep White Lotus safe, this guy had an amazing performance on the Kog'Maw, an amazing performance so far throughout the play-in stage. He's actually outperformed Mystic in a lot of statistics and has been putting up better KDAs, better numbers, and that's who I'm looking at here.
To lose the game with a 15 KDA feels real bad.
It feels bad, man. It feels awful because the team was doing so well in terms of the fights. It was the macro they dropped the ball on. But when I look at this, it feels like WE are saying we're going to skirmish a little more, but LYN are actually matching them. I'm looking at these junglers once again like last matchup because the early impact of this Ezreal we're seeing for the first time, as well as the mid-game impact of this Kazakhs against a team that has 3 squishies. If he goes Duskblade, evolves the R first, this could be a very impactful mid-game for Oddi.
And I absolutely love I know it feels bad to say the evolution of Kazakhs as far as what you're going to be buffing up first, but taking that R first up is just so cool, pairing it with that Duskblade. See where the Oddi is going to be heading towards that one. Of course, Darkstar Kazakhs as well looks so damn cool. But now we are hitting the ref for game number 2 here of the day. WE trying to make a statement. Remember, it's the home crowd. They still have all of this pressure as the pride of China. We'll see whether this is going to be a better time as Zero just floats his way out, making his debut here on the world stage for 2017, but certainly is no stranger to high-impact games. This guy has been around for a very, very long time. Condi is going to throw some Mystic shots forward. And Oddi, nailed it! Scar would be impressed by that ward, Zyrene. But now they know exactly where Condi is. Should be starting on the top side, unless this is a late invade now for WE, and that would be exciting because, of course, having Mystic Shot level 1, as far as Ezreal is concerned, is disgusting. We've all played against it when someone cheeses you in the mid lane, and it feels absolutely awful, and they are doing this. Giral's going to spot it out. But you can see Oddi, he's on the other side. No worries there at all. Can mean a blue steal if they want to. But Condi does want to be getting that red buff as quickly as possible. Colors are hard, Siren.
Yeah, they're very hard. And now we're going to have a game with Ezreal with Mystic Shot and Mystic as an AD carry as well.
Don't worry, we used to it. We used to it, brother. It's absolutely fine.
But yeah, also Zero being subbed in here for WE. Got some context on it. He's usually the more aggressive support, but it was just a choice. It wasn't something that they normally do, and it's also something that has no like medical thing or anything like that behind it. They just decided it's time for Zero to get in there, be aggressive, and try to beat somebody like White Lotus and Genthix, who had a really good early game.
Yeah, and this is another thing that we were talking about subs and the benefit of having a sub here as well in terms of Team 1, but yes, you're excited. Yes,
because this is really strange. Condi is going in to the blue, level 2, and the Kazakhs went all the way around. Just use the blast cone. This is going to be a fight. They're going to fight each other here.
Yeah, he finds the Mystic Shot. The jump comes in. Condi taking so much damage.
Storm Raiders.
As there it is. Oddi's looking for the kill. Does have the Q back up, but it's a great smite by Condi. He's got the Arcane Shift. Getting it out of the way. He does. Oh, Giral comes in first blood as he colossally smashes him away.
Condi went aggressive into the jungle. It's what you're supposed to do is the Ezreal because he wins a lot of those matchups, but hold on. Mystic taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's in so much trouble. He's been ignited down to sub 100 health. As Zero does at least have the heals to keep him alive. But LYN just firing on all cylinders in all lanes.
Yeah, they just got Mystic down to sub 200 HP. He is looking very wounded, but this right here, Condi goes over towards the Wolves. I don't know if that's exactly what he wanted, but Adi jumps in. He has Q and E.
And
usually
into the brush as well. Of course, Condi had a ward, but even just that, I mean, it's such stellar play mechanically.
Yeah, and I have to say, decision-making wise, the route that Adi took, he did his red buff, and then he went the weirdest route I had ever seen. He went down past his tier 2 turret in mid and just walked all the way up. That is an unexpected route. It avoids potential wards or common ward paths, and normally Kha'Zix, you go Q into W for farming. He went Q, and he went leap, he went E to catch the Ezreal.
Yeah.
He knew this was gonna happen, he planned for this, and that got them the advantage.
And we've spoken about Adi in the past, like for LYN Gaming on international stages, of course, before it was at wildcard tournaments, things like this, but he has been so dominant as far as the decisions that he makes, especially in the early game. The decisions that he makes just based on himself and what he needs to get done in the game are so good. And it's really great to see him come back because this hasn't necessarily been the split that's about Adi. I know they have a lot of domestic success, but it hasn't been because of Adi. It's been because of Sayer. It's been because of White Lotus. And it's brilliant to see that he's come back in here as Zero. Going aggressive. Condi's come down here as well as White Lotus might be in trouble. He wants to try and get himself out of the way, but the heal does come down. They want to get one onto Zero, but he flashes. Condi grabs the first kill on the bottom side. And Zero, his baiting is still top-notch.
That was an incredibly late teleport from Giral, and White Lotus and Genthix, despite having a decent summoner spell advantage from earlier where Mystic has no barrier, they decide not to flash away, not to disengage it, and instead they decide to stand their ground and try to get a counter kill, and it doesn't work.
No, and that means that Mystic now going to have a lot of extra space. And as far as WE are concerned, if Mystic's doing well, WE's doing well.
Yeah, and he was not doing well in the early parts of the game. And Condi going to have Storm Raiders?
Yeah, this is a big problem now for Adi, waiting for another one. The Q does land. Arcane Shift is going to be there if he wants to continue chasing. Moves his way down, doesn't find the Q. Didn't quite have that cooldown.
He's going to force him
landing
out.
enough of his Qs.
Still force him out of the jungle. Condi will walk forward and go towards where the Krugs are, but this might be just control of this bottom side of the map.
Not a lot of CS here on this Ezreal as well. He's been exploring the other sides of the map and does have the right skin for it. But let's have a look at this fight again.
Yeah, so they go in onto Mystic. Mystic gets out of the grand entrance. And then, yeah, right here, they're just looking at this and saying, Condi, no, he's actually just providing damage. They're going to go aggressive. And Giral TP's in a little bit later because they have that ward in the bush that would have seen Condi a little bit earlier than that. But it looks like they were saying, okay, mixed call. Are we finishing them? Are we actually going to get support here? And that makes it so they have a TP disadvantage on the top side.
The thing that I really loved about that was Zero's move as well. He made sure that he stayed in for as long as possible before flashing his way out.
Face check.
Oh, this is a disaster. Look at that burst damage as Condi tries to get himself out of the way, but it's not enough. He's trying to bait it forward as Shie, not able to get the damage down in time, and thankfully, there's Popcorn Chickens blocking the path of any threaded volleys.
I have got to say, Adi, his routes this game have been insane in terms of what you do not expect. That first one and this second one to exploit this Ezreal that has actually been incredibly feared in terms of how much of an advantage early it can get its lanes or bully other junglers. Adi is having none of that.
Just stunning.
I'm loving it.
And Condi also looked like he had absolutely no idea what he was supposed to do in that situation. If it was me, I'd immediately press E, but just knew that it wasn't going to be quite enough to get himself out of the way. Good trade by Mystic. Entrance comes in. Mystic flashes out of the way, but Genthix comes down. Good barrier comes in for Mystic as they get the dazzle down. Genthix needs to be careful. Does get his shield back up and is going to be okay.
Yeah, because Mystic had his barrier come back up, it's a summoner spell advantage for them on that 80 carry. There was no heal for White Lotus, so he had to burn his flash defensively to get out, and Zero almost killed him with a nice smack there.
Oh man, it's just, once again, I feel like this is so similar to the last time we saw these two teams. Feels on a knife's edge, and now it's Condi also a little bit of a problem for WE, and it was against LYN.
And right here, Adi, just the route to come in on his strong side of the map where the Galio was already roaming and is in range for a grand entrance if he needed it. Look at that burst. I talked about the 3 squishy composition from WE with the Taliyah, the Ezreal, and the Tristana. This could be a very aggressive Kha'Zix here. He doesn't have the Storm Raiders, he has the Thunderlords for more damage, and I want to see, look at that, challenging smite. I have not seen a challenging smite in a quick minute here because we usually see trackers in professional play. He's looking to invade, and that's how he's going to provide vision, is being up in Condi's face as the squishy Ezreal.
Yep. And you just saw the stat. Tarek not necessarily the best pick in the LPL. But Zero making it work so far on the bottom side of the map. We did see a time where it was Tarek well and truly at the forefront of the meta. But it was short-lived. Zero trying to make sure that he can get that one back. Of course, Zero been playing League of Legends for a hell of a long time. Probably imagining back to when Dazzle was a targeted ability.
Oh,
beautiful times. Genthix going a little bit aggressive. Not going to get stunned as he does have that battle dance to get himself out of the way. But 64 CS to 50. White Lotus once again really showing his chops here towards the bottom side. LYN Gaming have been doing nothing but impressing so far here in the play-ins.
And White Lotus, they got ganked early. He died, and he's still up in CS by 15. The mid lane is up in CS a little bit, and then the top lane is also up, and there's a wave crashing into the turret now. LYN Gaming have won every single lane here in CS, and the jungle actually got outclassed early.
Yeah. Has spelt only about 1,000 gold lead as WE were able to get one of those kills back as, yeah, a little bit of that extra speed. Oddie level 6 has evolved that ultimate. Yeah, it looks so cool with that skin as well.
This means he's probably going Duskblade so that you can reset the Duskblade. It has no internal timer except being unseen for 1 second on that extra damage. And this is just actually really interesting. GA,
yeah.
Condi, is he going to go over? Oh, he's going to spot Oddie.
Okay, so Oddie is going to get himself out of the way. Condi wins that little face-off as GA had disappeared from the mid lane. They don't want to opt into a fight, especially when Weaver's Wall is available and GA can turn up at a moment's notice. Thankfully for WE, they are given a little bit of respite because you can imagine it's the Kazakhs that they are most scared of. 1-0-1, he's the one getting the work done. And there is no other assist on the map here for LYN. So it's all just Oddie moving himself around, setting kills up for Giral, at least earlier on there, but otherwise it's just been him finding Condi in the jungle. Mystic, though, looking like he's going towards a rushed Infinity Edge, potentially, unless he decides to keep it at Pickaxe BF Sword and then heads towards Static Shiv, which I like for pushing down turrets.
Yeah, I've seen both, of course, and we'll see what he ends up doing with it, but backed with a 20 CS less than what White Lotus has. So White Lotus will be able to pick up a good amount here. See the BF Sword goes through, and he actually buys a refillable instead of getting the Caulfield's Warhammer. You would have enough gold right now to actually combine that, but he just goes back with a BF Sword and a little bit more sustain.
Doesn't really mind about the CDR, most likely. Shot Barrage going to fly forward, not going to actually get any damage down. I'm not sure what he's really doing, just checking that red buff to see whether that's where Oddie is. That seems like a very, very expensive hawk shot that he just utilized.
But I mean, if tracking Oddie is what you want to do, because it's been the thing that's gotten you killed twice now, I feel like it's a worthwhile investment.
I can certainly understand it. But slowly but surely, WE are pulling themselves back as far as gold is concerned. Not sure what this is, whether it's going to be Zero running a heck of a lot of gold runes, things like that, because at least 957 is caught back up in farm against Giral. Xie as well is caught back up in the mid lane, is a little bit further ahead. Mystic still struggling, but otherwise the rest of the lanes as far as solos are concerned, WE have started to make strides.
Yeah, it's even in the mid lane. It's about 270 gold up in the jungle. Most of this advantage is the top lane, about 400 up for Giral because of that kill.
Yeah, it's exactly the first blood gold.
Yeah, and the supports are actually pretty even right now. Both of them have the gold generation item upgraded to the Nomad's Medallion. And it's been locked. Like, this has been an incredibly great matchup, both games so far, between WE and LYN. It's been explosive, and we'll see what happens here.
Real cerebral as well as LYN are trying to turn this one around. Condi waits so long before he gets himself in there, as there's the Cosmic Radiance. WE looking for it, but the explosive shot, not enough.
Kha'Zix is coming from the top.
He's looking for it. Oddie makes his way forward, lands the W, and he's now searching for even more damage, but unable to quite get there. The dazzle enough to get him out of the way because he is squishy and does need to respect the damage from WE.
These are those fun games where everybody's squishy. There's like a Kha'Zix running around.
Yeah,
if he can get his auto attack and a Q off on an isolated target, like, they are just gone, and now you really have to be careful about that. And Oddie has a lot of control of Condi's jungle, and this team from the LLN, LYN, this is them showing that, you know, Gigabyte Marines getting one game over them and making it out of MSI, and them also being very close to the International Wildcard Qualifier at Worlds last year and making it out, showing, hey, they've improved on those performances and that they may actually be an international contender.
Yeah, LYN are looking like they can stand toe-to-toe with some of the best as Condi's going to be able to take down a red buff. Of course, it's only 1,000 gold. There's nothing really in this. What I love, though, is the fact that both of these teams understand that this is on a knife's edge on both sides. When you've got Oddie in such a key position on this Kha'Zix, he deserves so much respect, and WE are giving it to him as well. There's another True Shot Barrage is going to be used by Condi. Not sure what he's necessarily doing. He just wants to try and destroy some farm on the bottom side as 957 is now going to set up shop down there. They're going to swap things up. Going to be equaled by LYN. The Rip Herald has recently spawned.
Yeah, it's a nice little swap here, even though there's a Mountain Drake, but it is going to be matched by LYN. LYN are saying, oh, you're trying to opt out of this bad matchup? Now get back here.
Oh, hell no. Yeah.
Hell no. They're getting back up top. Because right now, the Galio's been beating the Maokai slightly, and then, even though this bottom lane got killed early, they still have an advantage in the Xayah Rakan matchup.
Well, you can see the blue buff has just spawned here for LYN, and there are pings coming out from WE, so wanting to continue going aggressive, and if they find a Kha'Zix on his own, that could be a real problem. LYN moving their bottom lane towards this area, but the vision is certainly there.
Audi on the other side. Audi's got a flank here, and that was the stun down. They're going to kill Condi.
They want him, but the Cosmic Radiance is going to come in. Everyone going to be invulnerable. 957, oh, he didn't necessarily want that Weaver's Wall to come in, but Giral now with his Abyssal Mask. A lot of damage potentially if he can close the distance on WE.
Wow. This is, yeah.
This is a game of chess, Irene.
So what just happened there was so strange because anybody could have really forced a fight if they wanted to, and both teams opted out of it for, different reasons. But thinking of the WE LYN matchup yesterday, even if you had a good reason to get out of there, you were still fighting. So both teams have actually kind of gone up in the amount of respect they're giving each other right now.
I think it's mostly WE though, because last time,
I would agree.
LYN would throw themselves at WE and they'd say, all right, we'll do it. I mean, we're a man down because Condi died to Dragon or something like that, which did happen in one of those fights. The Gragas making sure that he secured that. But now it's WE giving them a lot of respect. Speaking of which, there is someone lurking towards the top side.
Yeah, and they'll be able to catch maybe.
Yeah, good stun comes down as the Dazzle does land. Zero has to flash his way out, and Mystic is on his own. Rocket Jump is going to be there to get himself over that fat wall if he wants to. But LYN just flexing their muscles, making sure that WE continue to respect the damage that this bottom lane can provide.
Right now, it just seems like Giral overstayed a little bit and is missing waves on the bottom side, so he'll be caught up there, and you're going to have Audi kind of catch them now. And what?
Audi, you talking about the side stone?
I'm talking about the side stone.
I'm talking about the side stone.
Okay, so yeah, I haven't seen Challenging Smite in a while, but I have not seen a sight stone on a
They want the
Kha'Zix.
vision. They want the vision.
They get Tracker's Knife.
Okay, what does he build it into? Imagine if he gets Eye of the Watcher.
They're going to try to do this again. This is not what you expect from a play-in team.
Well, there's the quickness combo. Mystic still looking for more as the Feather Storm has to be respected. Buster Shot comes down to White Lotus. Doesn't pull the feathers back because he had it on cooldown. Luckily for Mystic, he is going to survive, but now without a barrier, and the heal was used by Zero as well.
Man, LYN is really impressive. Look at that jump on him.
Yeah, Shockwave pulls him forward. Yeah, has to flash his way out, and he's at about 300 health. Oddie just needed one Q. He would have taken him down, but just ran out of gap close and didn't have the flash.
There are going to be some fun replays with Audi abusing the vision on the R because he just ran from a bush to a bush to get to that gank, and he wasn't spotted in plain sight because of the evolved R.
It is going to be the rushed Infinity Edge here from Mystic, so actually looking for more crit damage, try and get these jewels working out. It's not going to help you because you can't crit turrets as far as pushing things down, but does want to make sure that he's relevant in some of these fights that could be breaking out. 17 minutes into the game. Last time we were on Summoner's Rift, the game was basically over at this stage, and now 1,000 gold separates LYN Gaming and Team WE. This is a much different story, and this is what we're expecting out of this matchup as well. Yesterday showed us that this is very close.
Remember, Proskurin was saying it was close, but LYN always had the lead. WE always had the lead by 2,000 gold, despite LYN winning in kills. WE were out macroing them, and now we're seeing a little bit of a hint of that here with the swap back. Now they have a Tristana on a bottom turret, and they have this Ezreal getting that dragon by himself, and now he's going to try to thin waves so that they can't keep pushing.
He's going to do so quite easily as well, as these minions are going to fall. The bottom turret falls down, and that is going to be first turret gold, putting WE for the first time in the lead this game, even if it is only by about 200 gold. Rift Herald is going to be taken, so LYN still continuing to trade objectives. It's never just WE taking things for free.
WE are going to try to get some damage on this bottom turret with Mystic. But
Audi.
LYN are going to try to go top. Audi just pushed Condi out of the jungle. Going to take his red, and now he has Rift Herald. They're going to get the mid turret. I think this is way more important than a tier 2, honestly.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because you get to open up the map.
White Lotus as well getting damage down on the top side, and it just looks like LYN have more members on the map in the right position to take objectives down. So WE had a small moment where they had a gold lead, but that is absolutely gone now. And it's above 1,000. The first time we've hit about the 1,500 mark, and LYN, you're right, I'm really glad that you mentioned the fact that no matter what they did, they were still behind. Now, WE are the ones that are struggling to try and get themselves an advantage.
And this is going to be really interesting because the Ezreal jungle, you pick it for that early pressure, and then that mid part of the game, you really hope you got those early ganks to work because you set laners ahead, you get ahead, and his items are pretty expensive. Trinity Force, Duskblade, you are buying some big ticket items, and you don't really increase your durability at all. So you're looking at a very squishy team, whereas Audi, now he's starting to get those Duskblade components. Now he's starting to move towards that lethality.
He's got his Sightstone.
After his Sightstone, which honestly, I still think it's a great move for a team perspective where you need to have more vision on the map than just your support. So whether it's the Tracker's Knife, he feels like the investment of the Sightstone is better than the Tracker's Knife. Because he gets to have that damage reduction from the red smite, which will increase his durability against a team that's so squishy.
Yeah, he absolutely needs that against Audi as well if he does discover him in the jungle. What I want Audi to do is continue down this route as far as red items are concerned. Ruby Sightstone can come in, the Duskblade going to be completed. Black Cleaver can come in as well, and I feel like that is going to help all of us that have item OCD. This is going to get charged down very, very quickly, and we'll see whether this Rift Herald is going to be used to take down the inner turret at the same time, because I feel like they can push through.
Well, now it's Maokai wave clear versus what Orianna's doing mid against Talia, and then this bottom 3-man push. Galio on the top side versus 3 as well is going to be really rough. This is going to get them towards that inhibitor turret.
Well, you got a double charge coming out of, well, triple charge theoretically from the Rift Herald. Yes, they'll steal away this blue buff, but they're very close to losing their inhibitor.
Baron. They got to pay attention to this Baron. It just spawned, and WE are going to go on it.
Yeah, his fancy clothes have come in, and they're saying, well, we don't even really care. They have actually broken off that inhibitor turret as well, and 957 is going to commit to this. WE, this was the kind of call we were looking for. Much like Gambit yesterday, Baron spawns, Baron is dead.
And the LLN team, they hear the Chinese crowd going insane, and they're like, what is going on? Oh, my God, they just got the Baron at 20 minutes as it spawned. This put WE back in the driver's seat. It made it even, and now they have the potential to push. They ended up trading the Baron for nothing on the bottom side. They didn't get any more than what WE got on the top. It went even.
And if you think about it as well, it's still a smart decision from LYN. You've got the Rift Herald. You're going to win any base race like that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they just didn't look at the clock. And as soon as that Baron came in, they had enough damage to take it down.
Yeah, the Taric Q is an AoE heal. You stand on top of them with a Tristana and an Ezreal, and you saw them take that Baron with no tank taking damage. The Ardent Sensor gives you that on-hit heal. The Ezreal and the Tristana are literally taking no damage doing it, and they're killing it so quickly. That is the power of this Taric that may become more and more meta as the tournament goes on.
Yeah. Zero comes in for his first game, and he's already building the meta around himself and looking fabulous while he does it. The Baywatch Taric, one of my favorites.
Not the official name.
Thanks for that, Simon.
Yeah, if you're looking for it, you know, it's not going to be under Hasselhoff or anything like that.
Oh my God, that'd be a great Easter egg. It's like, I'm looking at, I know you can't type in which skin you're going to use, but oh, that'd be fun. Gen thinks it's going to come in for the engagement. We do have at least the invulnerability from WE, and they're utilizing this time so well. Genthix punished for his engage. Audi trying to find his way in. He's invisible for the moment, but the shockwave, it picks up Shie, but not much else. And Condi wants to get the aggression down. WE answers the engage so nicely.
This next wave, though, this is most likely when this turret's going to go down because Mystic will be able to walk up and take down this mid turret. And you can see 957 flanking on the side, threatening an engage.
Yeah, still 2 minutes left on this Baron buff as well. Winds of War, we'll see whether it's going to be enough to stop the damage from coming down as Featherstorm has to be thrown out by White Lotus. So much pressure now for WE. as we know them as a team-fighting team, and with this AoE heal coming out of the Taric, the double abusers of the Ardent Sensor as well. Compositionally, WE are so set up now at about 23 minutes into the game. Power Spike is a word that we throw around a lot, but I feel like as far as WE's comp is concerned, this is one of the biggest power spikes that I've seen thus far in the play-ins. Because there's a Trinity Force, we've got the Ardent Sensor, we've got 2 items now on the Mystic as well. Like, oh man, it's all coming together for WE.
And they're still trying to find something. Infernal Drake spawning here. And both teams looking for an advantage on the jump.
Well, this is what happens when you have a Kha'Zix as well. I mean, having, I guess, the initiation start
TP
is so important, but we got a Weaver's Wall flying forward. LYN have been split off, and Saya will have to flash if he wants to get himself in there. Stun comes down onto Dural. He's very durable, but can they actually get enough work done? We do have at least auto attacks coming down from White Lotus, but Condi has taken down the Galio. The Rakan's going to fall. White Lotus needs to try and get something done, but Shia gets it with the threaded volley, and Oddie, where was he in this fight? He's now looking for Mystic. The Flash is going to get it. But is he going to get punished? That's the question, and absolutely he is. It's just Saya looking on in horror as the rest of his team gets obliterated.
That's a 4-for-1 in favor of Team WE, able to find that Infernal Dragon as well. And seriously, the Weaver's Wall and the setup here is just better from WE. There is a fantastic shockwave to chunk out Mystic. Mystic has to use Rocket Jump to get over, but I like that move because it brings him into the big majority of the team fight. And you see Adi go up, Saya goes in from the right, but now he's zoned off by both Condi and Zero, and he also got aggro on the Infernal Drake. So WE just found better paths to regroup, and then it was a split LYN Gaming, and you can see Adi wanted at least something there.
Yeah, he gets it, and I'm still going to call Worth on that one because I'm pretty sure even if he just backed there, it's not going to be as good as grabbing some assists for your teammates. But now all of a sudden, WE, a 3,000 gold lead. And it was just looking so good once again for LYN. The beginning of that game, Oddie's movements around the map. He now has his Duskblade built up, but it just feels like WE, they've always been the Elder Dragon team, right? You look at the clock and you think 35 minutes, that's where they're going to break out. But here, it was WE turning it on at 20 minutes. And I think this is brilliant because it illustrates what WE have changed after their name was gained for being that late game team fighting team. Because now it's 20 minutes that they can turn it on. And still, you do want to tighten up how you're going to play the game earlier on, but they always seem to be able to do this.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second here, because you said 20 minutes. That's exactly when it happened, because the Baron spawned. What happened was WE looked like they were going for a stupid trade because Rift Herald's going to push turrets faster, and they opted into it instead of answering because they were just going to go get Baron afterwards. It was actually a brilliant setup based on the timer, because by the book, what LYN did was 100% right, and they would win that most of the time, but the clock was not in their favor, and WE did it because of that.
Yeah.
It's just
Zero
a great
as well,
manipulation.
looking fantastic. He's 100% kill contribution. He's Electravelian as far as his code name for MI6 is concerned. LYN have lost their inner turret on the bottom side of the map and top. Now just looking to push down the mid lane. No more Baron available for WE, but there's a minute to go before they can grab that one again. And with all of the power that they've built up for themselves, feels like that is sure to be an option to just bait or to potentially just take as well if they can find someone out of position on the side of LYN.
Yeah, they're getting stronger and stronger with that 4,000 gold lead that they have on Team WE's side. But we'll see.
Are you surprised that it took us this long to see Ezreal as well coming out of the jungle? I can't believe it
a little bit, yes.
all of day one without this Ezreal that everyone's been talking about.
Well, the big thing is that it's very successful in high elo because you literally just do red buff, E towards mid lane, and then you just got the enemy mid laner's flash. And at that level, giving a flash at summoner spell advantage to a Masters Challenger player usually is enough for them to kill them like 3 minutes later. And you can just do that and disrupt lanes. But then he also has pretty good scaling, especially with Ardent Sensor users. So I am surprised, but I'm not surprised that it's Condi being the first person to pull it out.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Looks like he's going for something like a Blade of the Ruined King as item number 2. See whether it is going to be that one, but he does need to bust through Giral. Not too worried about the rest of them though, and he could probably go for a Bloodthirster here if he feels like it, because it's not necessarily like you need to shred tanks. So they can ignore Giral, kill Oddie, kill Saya, kill White Lotus, and then everything is absolutely fine. But that's what the gamble LYN Gaming took was. Because when you don't have the front line, what you're relying on is having a good early game, and they did. They just weren't able to capitalize, weren't able to get the vision on the Baron at that 20-minute mark. It's a mistake that I know it sounds like I'm calling them out for that one, but they do not deserve that at all because they weren't expecting a 20-minute Baron as it spawns to come out from WE.
Yeah. And like I had said earlier, like, well, that they hear it. I mean more of they felt the rumble of the Baron. They felt the rumble of the crowd. And then they were just completely taken off guard by the fact that the Baron was taking it 20 minutes. They'll watch this replay, teams will watch this replay, and look at the power of the Ardent Sensor Taric in these Baron takes.
And now he's got his Talisman of Ascension as well. It's not Eye of the Oasis here for this Taric that we see a lot of these Ardent Sensor users building. Wants to have that extra engage power, the extra movement potential.
Oh boy. Yeah, right now it's just really good for Team WE. They have a good setup. They have ward control. Genthix is looking for some sort of flank to potentially hit Mystic. But right now you just have better completed items for WE. The Maokai can hold off choke points. And you're forcing somebody like White Lotus to go mid to clear. And that gives you windows of opportunity to look towards this Baron. Blast Cone gets killed. And now it's like, don't go in. He's holding his breath.
They got a lot of vision capabilities here on the side of WE. Ward was available for LYN, so they know that Mystic now nowhere near this Baron pit. Did have a lot of the damage. And level 13, I believe you need to be about 15 to hit the Baron over the wall as Tristana. How does Draw a Bead work? Do you know exactly how? I don't know. Well, who cares? Because we've got a Talisman Ascension being popped, the Righteous Glory coming down as well. They don't quite find the engage. And Weave as well, just going to set this one up to get LYN away from this Baron. How quickly can WE do it? Yeah, Oddy's trying to look for it. He has a lot of damage if he can get the Q down onto the Baron, despite it not being isolated. But this was all a bait. The root comes in. Genthix is going to die immediately, and there's no damage taken by WE. Mystic free hitting onto Jerome.
Shockwave!
Shockwave is gigantic, but it's not enough damage. WE still moving forward. Condi pushing Giral out. Winds of War not going to be enough. And Oddy, they're just moving away from him. Who cares about the Kazakhs because they just move the fight forward. Seiya has to get out of there. It is only a 1-0, but still a win for WE.
And they just heal so much off of that Taric. But that Shockwave was key to keep away WE and stop them from rolling over that fight. They're going to look back at the Baron. There's a sapling setup, and now they're just going to be able to take this.
Well, Seiya's going to try and get something out of this at least. The second Baron of the game is going to go down for WE. It's 30 minutes in. They've got 4 minutes now to play with. Okay, that trade is okay. I mean, trying to get themselves at least an Infernal Drake as a consolation prize, but it is exactly that as we have a look at this fight again.
This Taric is doing so much work. It allows you to just survive and do frontline dives and have a lot of time to take out their frontline. But a great three-man Shockwave there. It doesn't get GA, but it gets everybody else, and 957 is forward. And now, I like Audie's positioning a bit, but it's just a little bit too late. The team just rushed forward, and Audie was behind just in case anybody wanted to disengage that fight. So it was forcing WE to continue forward. But the problem was he wasn't there earlier. If he was there when the Shockwave was down, then it's a different fight.
Well, Zero actually really making a name for himself here as far as the later stages of the game are concerned. He's moved from Sean Bean to Pierce Brosnan at the same time, so that's pretty cool.
Don't mention Sean Bean, man. That's just because you're either Sean Bon or you're Scene Bean. You can't have it either way with the E-A-N sound. I'm sorry, Sean Bean. You just can't do it. You're Sean Bon or Scene Bean.
I knew that would trigger you. Absolutely fantastic. That's all I wanted from that call. Okay, WE now setting themselves up. They've got a good slow push on the top side of the map, but I think that LYN have set up the bottom lane quite nicely. Audie just hanging out, waiting outside the brush as well to make sure that he can get that movement speed when he wants it. But the pings are on him. They know exactly where Audie is. And WE are just going to move towards his turret and obliterate it.
Yeah. Audie has been in strange places away from his team, you know, saying Kazakhs is not a team fighter.
I actually think it's a really cool composition as well, and it's very similar to that of the Tristana Corki comps that we see as far as brutally destroying turrets in a matter of seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Trinity Force users always have been fantastic at it, but now you've got the explosive charge on top of it at the same time. It's just no chance for these turrets to survive.
Another thing that you get is you get the Weaver's Wall from the side to block off the turret and then go ahead and take it.
Speaking of which, almost on cue there, Zyrene. Gentix is going to be able to get himself over with the battle dance, but Saya is completely zoned away from this fight. 957 creates space as well with the Nature's Grasp. Mystic is starting to do so much work with almost his 4 items. 3.5 is about all you need. That last Whisper sitting there, probably looking for his Mortal Reminder next, unless he wants to just get Lord Dominic's for a little bit of extra damage. But there's no tanks to really be getting through, and Zero buying as much time as he can. He's only going to make 2 members invulnerable. WE may actually need to back away based on the failure of that ultimate.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a mixed call there because 957 didn't have ultimate, and he didn't pop Righteous Glory to actually engage. So looked like Zero and him were a little bit on different pages. If he had popped the Righteous Glory to rush in and maybe get a W on somebody, then it looks like it's worth it. But now, Baron buff will be off in a minute. And WE did not get that inhibitor.
But they have still opened it up now, and WE know that they are quite far ahead.
He knows.
Gets rid of it that time. Nicely done. Dustblade, of course, fantastic for clearing out wards. So having double sweeper feels really, really cool. But Black Cleaver now being built towards. He is staying on that line of getting red items. So I'm pretty happy. No Ruby Sightstone just yet, but I hold out hope. They just wanted to shove things through. So no inhibitors lost just yet means that things certainly not over for LYN, but WE has just been incrementally creating advantages. We're moving towards the 35-minute mark, and from 20 minutes on, that gold lead has just been creeping forward slowly but surely. This comes back to what Frostgurun was talking about as well, as far as WE being a consistent team. And it's because of this slow, sure, methodical playstyle that they have showed us. It's not about destroying a team extraordinarily quickly, because what that means is that you're taking risks. You're taking 2v2 fights in the jungle, things like this that can go one of 2 ways. WE just know where to be, they know where to move, and even though they've got Condi dying at level 2, things like that, with Oddie having fantastic plays, it doesn't matter because they know how to claw their way back, they know what their win condition is, and they play to it every time.
And they trust their mechanics. That's why they're such a great late game team, is that they trust Mystic. They trust they can play around him, and they trust that they're able to individually outperform people on the Rift when it comes down to it and have those clutch performances, those clutch moments. You think of GA, bad early game in both games 1 and 2 for them, but he had the Jace jump in with 957's Shen ultimate, and then he had the Corki package through the enemy team, able to perform in the late game despite what happens in the lane phase, and that's why WE are able to come up with those wins.
And that Weaver's Wall just there, another example of WE knowing exactly what they need to do with the buttons that they have available. Righteous Glory is going to come in, Cosmic Radiance is there as well as 957. He was just threatening a Twisted Advance. They didn't necessarily beat this looking for it. Gentix, yeah, does get the double knock-up. Hero's Entrance comes in as well as Jarrell gets into position, but they're just flat out not doing any damage. Really great Nature's Grasp going to come in as that's a solo man ultimate onto only Zero. Saya did not want that option. True Shot Barrage slices through White Lotus as Mystic just wants to get that 1 reset, wants the 1 kill. White Lotus can't be there. That is not what you want, but somehow, miraculously, LYN survive.
And White Lotus during that fight wasn't able to get a good piece of it, and now he finally has his Mortal Reminder. He needed some armor penetration to just at least get in that fight because he was zoned away, and it was a lot of what's going on with those long reach abilities, and WE were able to play that at an arm's length with their backline.
The thing that I find beautiful here is that we're getting showcases each game of the strength of WE, and now it's the front line. 957 sitting at 006. We've got 007 there as far as Zero is concerned. I feel like, you know, it really is a bit of an homage to the old GoldenEye. Gentix books his way in, and that's a rocket jump to follow him up. Grand Entrance not exactly going to be enough as Mystic gets the double jump.
Beautiful from Mystic to get the jump, get the full explosive charge, and then able to get another one to follow. This insane. This is why you can rely on him, but look at that. Condi's so much damage.
Yeah, Condi's not a fan.
Oddie got it.
He steals away the Elder Dragon. It is going to mean that it's only 3 members that get it, but LYN holding on desperately, and we'll see whether this is going to be enough. Thankfully, they were able to grab that dragon from before, so this is boosted up a bit.
Yeah, Condi, maybe the son of Baron, but Oddie, this guy's becoming the Dragon Whisperer right now. Stealing that Elder away right in front of their faces. Gives them a little more time here.
Okay, well, WE still have that man advantage for at least another 25 seconds. Moving towards this inhibitor turret. And WE, despite losing the Elder, probably not too worried about it. 7,000 gold is the lead. But pressure certainly going to be there. They want to wait until these super creeps are heading down, create that inherent pressure with the 6th man on the team.
Yep.
Blue buff going to be there. Condi's going to be able to grab that one. And the Baron, he's just hanging out. He's got his cool new clothes, and he's going to be dead again very, very soon. Oh, God, look at this.
Yeah. So
that is terrifying.
So a lot of people didn't realize that, like, when Tarek got changed slightly, we'll talk about it after this and why it's just so insane. But Mystic, perfect, gets all the shots he needs, and Genthix was alone. Nobody to jump to there. And now, Condi goes over, Blast Cone's back in, gets shockwaved here, and then you can see Zero's on the side, like, okay, I'll stop whatever happens here. Shockwave comes through, and then Audi stealths out of the bush, gets in, gets the smite, gives over his life, but there's a worth there. I'm surprised she didn't throw up that flare.
Yeah, I would have called it. Probably didn't have enough time. I don't know, he was dead pretty dang fast after that, but he gets rewarded with the Black Cleaver afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So going back to the Tarek really quickly. So his Starlight's touch, his Q, the heal, is AoE on the person that has Bastion and himself. But also, when you auto-attack with his passive Bravado, the thing that gives that reduces the cooldown of his spells, it gives him charges of Starlight's touch, which was reduced to be an only 2-second cooldown. Normally, it has a different recharge cooldown for just stacks normally. But if you're hitting things, you can hit, heal, and you literally can heal between every auto attack. So you can keep Ardent Sensor on 5 people the entire time you're doing Baron.
That is busted. Completely.
4 people, because you're not, I guess, giving it to yourself, so I'll be completely correct.
Well, Condi possibly in trouble as there's the grand entrance. Good double knockup. Audi eviscerates the Ezreal. Sheer comes in with a great seismic shove. And now Zero looking to try and get the work done. Mystic over the side. Picks up the kill onto Genthix so easily. And he's jumping his way forward. In trouble. The double kill comes in. Audi is going to get smashed by Xie. And on all fronts, WE are getting the revenge. They want to save their jungler. And the Goomba stomping's going to come in. You did not want to taunt that Mystic Tristana because he's going to kill you. And Saya going to get the same fate as well. The tree picks up 1, and WE just want to finish the game. They'll follow the Super Creeps towards the Nexus. Once again, a very close game, especially for the first 20 minutes, but WE proving themselves the better team. 2 games now against LYN Gaming.
And that'll mean WE are in the play-in knockout stage. They have 3 wins. You don't know if they're number 1 or 2, but they still are moving on.
Yeah, WE, home crowd advantage most certainly is there, but I'm pretty sure they've been confirmed into top spot.
Actually, yes,
right?
they are in the top spot because they took down LYN, which is the only other team that had a win. So yes, you are correct. They are the number 1 seed leaving this group.
So now every other team sort of looking at the number 2 seed as being the death zone, because you do not want to be going up against WE. This team is looking methodically fantastic. And I know slow start, things like that, but that is what WE is all about. It doesn't really matter about how you win, it's whether you win. They've won 3 games now in a row, and that feeling that you get, you know how you get that feeling in your gut halfway through a game? You're like, I just know this team's going to win. I've been getting that with WE throughout the play-ins so far. I've been confident that this is a team that's going to be able to keep it together because they have looked cool, calm, and collected so far.
So, yeah, you had that feeling halfway through this game, but